But we're going to go to the book of Job tonight, first chapter, 20. Like I was saying, I'm glad for the blessings that God has given to me and my family. You know, you look back and you think, how could we be blessed anymore? You know, the last little bit, me and Haley have been trying something different. And she's going to get on me because I keep walking around up here and moving around. She's going to get on me after service. But we've been trying something different. And anytime anything negative happens or anything that maybe don't go exactly how we think it should, you know, either I'll text her or she'll text me or whatever, and I'll say, you know what, God's got it in his hands. He's gonna, we're in his hands. He's in control. It don't matter what we're going through. He's got our back. She had texted me. There's been some stuff happening at work. She texted me, and this was right after I thought about this, you know, about staying positive and trying to think of the good things. So I texted her back. I said, don't worry about it. And after I texted that, I was thinking, I hope she reads that as he's got it in his hands. Hey, I don't want to talk about this. Because, you know, a lot of times text messages can be read different than how they should be read. But I am thankful for God's hand on my life. I've come a long way from where I've started, and I'm thankful for that. But I'll go ahead and read the scripture. Job, first chapter, 20th verse. Then Job arose, rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, naked I came out of my mother's womb, and naked I shall return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. But tonight I'm going to talk about it's your choice. I'm going to ask that we go before the Lord right now. I have this feeling that if you want something tonight, you're going to be able to get it. You're going to have an opportunity to have a change in your life if you need one. So let's go before him right now, and let's just offer up some praise unto him and kind of get our spirits ready for him. Lord, we worship you. You all may be seated. Before I get started preaching, I want to tell a story here about an individual. And for the story's sake, right now, I'm just going to call this boy Danny. So Danny was just another kid in the gym, along with 50 or so of his classmates trying out for the basketball team. Now Danny knew that maybe he wasn't as big as some of the other kids, and you know, maybe he wasn't as fast as some of the other kids, but you know, he had tried hard and he felt like he had done his best. So he went to tryouts. He didn't make it. There was only 15 spots. He didn't make it. The boy was devastated. One of his best friends made the team, and Danny, he didn't know what to do. He went home and locked himself in his room and just cried. At that point, Danny had a choice. You know, he could either just gave up, and he could have said, you know what, maybe basketball is not my thing. Maybe I ought to try chess. But, you know, he didn't. He said, you know what, I'll just keep playing for junior varsity, and we'll see how that goes. So he ended up starting for the junior varsity. Even though it wasn't his first choice, but he took what he got. When he was playing for the junior varsity, He was one of the most talented kids that anybody had ever seen. He had several 40-point games. It was just remarkable how good he was. Well, between his sophomore and his junior year, there was a transformation in Dan. He grew 4 inches. Well, then 4 inches, that added a lot. So varsity picked him up. He ended up being an all-star on the team. He ended up being he had several scoring titles and that kind of stuff with the team. Ended up, the boy I'm talking about, his name wasn't Danny. It was Michael Jordan. He's one of the greatest basketball players that's ever played. But that one day where he didn't make the high school team could have changed his life forever if he would have made a different choice. He could have completely changed the outcome of how he looks or how his completely went. It could have changed from that day forward. In our scripture text, we're talking. Everybody knows the story of Job. Satan came to God, and he told God, he said, "You know what? I don't think Job's quite as good as what you think." God, he's like, I beg to differ. I think you're wrong. He said, "Okay, whatever. You know what? You can do whatever you want to. Just don't touch it." So, like I said, we all know how the story goes. Job lost his children. Job lost his oxen, his sheep, his camels. Job lost everything. But even after all of that, he could still say, "Blessed be the name of the Lord." In the second chapter of Job, we find that Satan comes before the Lord again. He says, "You know what? I think I could do a little bit more with Job, and he will curse you. But you gotta let me have a little bit more range with you. You gotta let me get under his skin, so to speak, a little bit more." So God says, you know what? Okay, I'll take that bet. You can do whatever you want to, just you can't take his life. You can't take his life. So then we all know the story. Job got boiled. And from what I've heard, it's so painful. It's something you can't really bear. Well, at this point, his wife comes to him and says, "You know what? Why don't you just curse God and die?" His friends came to him and said, "What have you done wrong?" At this point in Job's life, he could have had a totally different outcome than what we know the end of the story was. Because he had so much negativity being pushed into his life. He had so many people talking about the negative side of things when in essence he was trying to stay positive. He was trying to say, "You know what? No matter what, blessed be the name of the Lord. You know what? No matter what's going on in my life, God's got my back. Blessed be the name of the Lord." What we got to realize is God will not ever put us through more than what we can take. Something else out is God blesses those that bless him and that bless his church. I thought Brother Eddie did a wonderful job a couple of weeks ago talking about the tithing and the giving to the church. And I believe it's very important. If you want to be blessed, you have to give. But there's more that you maybe you say, "Well, I don't have all that much money to give." There's more that you can give to the church than just your money. You can give your time. You can make it yours. When you come in here and you see maybe a kid has dropped a candy wrapper on the floor, you just pick it up. You'll be blessed for the small things, even if it's just cutting the grass or maybe see spider webs in the corners of the everything. You know, I said that because Brother Virgil got me the other night, told me to clean the spider webs. But stuff like that, you will be blessed for. God, He will show His appreciation for the small things. And this is something I've really been pushing. When you come to church, you ought to be having a good time. Church is fun. Living for God can be fun, but you got to make it fun. It's just like anything you do. If I went to work every day and I sat there and I pouted and I acted like I didn't have a good time doing my job, for one thing, you're never going to go anywhere in that job probably because they're going to say, this guy, you don't even be here. So if our bosses think like that, how much more would God think like that with His blessing? If we come in here and all we do is sit with our own arms crossed, and maybe our day didn't go quite as like what we thought it should have. Maybe there's stuff going on and we just don't know why. So we come in here and pout. That's not the right attitude. Because, all right, sometimes God will take things from us in our lives just to see how much we trust Him. At that point, you have a choice. You can either give it up and say, you know what, God, you want it, you can have it. Or you can keep it. That choice is completely up to you. God's not just going to snatch it and say, you know what, here, I'll take these cigarettes from you. No, it's got to be something you say, you know what, God, I don't need these anymore. I got you. God, He won't make us do anything that we don't want to do. But the choice that you make in those times may forever change the path of your life. Sometimes God will make us lay things down so that He can bring us up. Maybe there's some weights and chains that's holding us down. And God, all He's wanting us to do is just, hey, I've already broke them loose. You've got to take them off the shoulder. He's already took everything away from us. We just have to lay them down. So many times we're like, God, take this from me. God, help me through this. Help me get rid of this. And so many times, all it takes is us. Because I have a God that is here for me. And I have a God that is going to take care of me. And I'm thankful for that tonight. God gave the devil a shot at Job. But God had faith in Job. And God has faith in us. A lot of times God has more faith in us than we have in us. Something and the other guys that preach, they'll understand what I'm saying. A lot of times when you do this kind of stuff, when you're studying, there's stuff that comes to you that you've never thought of. And that's just how it is. But the valley, maybe you're going through a valley right now. But don't think of it negatively, because your perspective could be the outcome of where your valley ends and your mountain begins. Because maybe you think you're in the lowest point of that valley that you can be at. The great thing is if you're as low as you can go, there's nowhere to go but up. Excuse me, I've had allergies, cold. But whether we're on the mountaintop or whether we're in the valley, we've got to stay on fire for God. Church, I believe that we're living in the last days. if you have ever been on fire for God, if you've ever had a burden in your life, you better be on fire now. You better, whatever burdens you have, you better go after them, because I don't believe we have a lot of extra time to spare. It's just the way everything's going. We don't have time to waste. It's important to stay on fire. Whether you are sick or whether you just got healed, He's still God. Whether you just got a promotion or you just got fired, He's still God. Whether you are broke or you just had a great financial blessing, He is still God. No matter what we are facing, no matter what we're going through, He's still God. And He's always there for us. In Isaiah 54:17, it says that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. I don't know about you, but that's shout material there. Because that tells me that there ain't nothing that the devil can throw in my life. There's nothing that the devil can put on me that's greater than what my God can do. No matter what you're going through, you can say, our God is greater. With God before us, who can be against us? I'm starting to wind down, so y'all can stand. But you know what? Tonight, I believe it is our choice. We have a choice tonight. We can sit here, we can go through the motions, and we can go through church and just do everything just like we do every other Wednesday night. Or you can have a life-changing moment. You can leave this place completely changed and on fire for God. I'm not saying that you'll never have problems again. I'm not saying that everything from this point on, everything's going to be perfect. You'll never have nothing else that ever goes wrong, or you'll never have anything else. You'll never have any problems. You'll never be sick again. I'm not saying that. But the way I like to think of it is, if you start a new job, or you start a club or whatever, with that club or that job or whatever, you get benefits. With your job, you get insurance, you get retirement, you get all these, the benefit package. Well, church, I'm going to tell you right now, we have the best benefit package around. Our benefits are everlasting. Once you turn your life over to God, you're no longer on your own. He will take care of you. He can be your healer. He can be your provider. He's always there for us no matter what. Why don't we raise our hands right now? Lord, we worship you. Jesus, we love you.